1 week away from kickoff between the Eagles and Cowboys, and Philly Sports Talk is here for our top 10 QBs entering the NFL season. I'm Coy Camiscioli along with Cade Gargano and Eli Namey here today. This should be a hell of a debate. How's it going, guys?
How's it going?
Great, I can't wait.
Yeah, this one might be a little controversial in the past lists. We've already done wide receivers, running backs, and tight ends, so if that intrigues you guys, I go back and listen. But let's just get going right away today, guys. Let's get into our honorable mentions. And my honorable mention, I just have one. It's Bo Nix. I really like Bo Nix. I think the Broncos are having a good season this year. He kind of proved a lot last year, and I like what I saw from him.
So I have two honorable mentions. One of them is also Bo the Butcher, and then I have Jared Goff, who just missed mainly because Ben Johnson's not there anymore.
Wow. So before this episode started, to anybody listening, I said that I really thought we were going to debate right away, and I thought it was going to be with the Jared Goff. I also have Jared Goff as an honorable mention. I thought that was going to spark some controversy, but I'm glad you pulled the trigger on that too, Eli.
Yeah.
All right, fellas, we know some ball. By the way, I pulled up my top 10 QBs from last year real fast. We'll see how right they were. Number 10, I had Kyler Murray, whatever. 9, Jordan Love. 8, Dak Prescott. So those three were kind of botched, I would say. 7, I had Justin Herbert. 6, I had C.J. Stroud. 5, I had Joe Burrow. 4, Josh Allen. 3, Lamar Jackson. 2, Jalen Hurts. Number 1, Patrick Mahomes. So that was my list from last
Oh
year.
God, it's a horrible ending.
I mainly based it off of how I thought those guys were going to do from last year. And Jalen Hurts, Super Bowl MVP, so it can't be that crazy. But let's get into a list from this year. And I'm not that far off from you guys. I have Jared Goff at number 10 in my tier 4 of guys, I'd say. I didn't really want to put him on this list, but he has the numbers to back it up from the past 3 or 4 seasons. 37 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 4,629 yards last year. He's been really good the last 3 years, even though I think he's not really that good. The numbers are there for him, even though I think he can't win a big game. So I had Jared Goff round up my list, number 10.
So at my 10, I put C.J. Stroud. I think he's going to be throwing the ball a ton with Joe Mixon out, and I think him and Nico Collins are going to get a ton of work in this season. So I think the 10 spot's good for him though, just because I like him and I think he's potential to be much higher, but I just like the other guys I have above him more.
I like that ranking, but I did not have Stroud on my list. So then
I also didn't have Stroud on my list,
But I
but
kind of
I
like that
did have
ranking.
somebody. I did have somebody on my list at the number 10 spot. Here we go. Caleb Williams is my number 10
Oh my
rated quarterback
God!
in football.
Oh!
Now listen, hear me out. I knew it was going to spark this reaction, but just hear me out for just a
This
few
is
minutes.
silly.
It's not
Horrible.
silly at all. This is a projection. You had Jalen Hurts at number 2 last year, and though he didn't have the second best stats, he probably had the best quarterback season overall. So it's just a projection. Caleb Williams had 3,500 yards last season, 20 passing touchdowns, in arguably maybe the worst offensive ecosystem of all time. There are other, like the coaching wise. We all thought that he was going into a great situation with the receivers that he had, but his coaching staff, DJ Moore came out at an interview later in the season and said they didn't even teach Caleb Williams how to watch film. Like just the vibes, the whole offense, just the game plans were so incorrect. Roma Dunze's an ex receiver, and they had him in the slot. DJ Moore's a gadget guy, and they did not have him acting that way. Like this team is so talented offensively, and I think Ben Johnson really flips the switch with Caleb Williams this season.
Cade's in love with the Bears. What else can you say?
I don't
If
think
it's
they're
a- if it's a
necessarily going to be a
projection
great
list-
team.
Yeah,
I just think
if you're factoring in projected season, it's really not that crazy. This year, I more did my list like top 10 QBs going into the year from last year. So I mean, it's really not that insane when you put it that way. It
yeah,
might
I'm
not have been
thinking
my
of
number
these
10,
are
but
these are the quarterbacks that this is pretty much the list that I think I'm going to have at the start of the 2026 season. That's kind of how I'm basing it off of.
yeah, Caleb Williams, it was a disaster season. Led the league in sacks taken. Well, not taken, sacks just in general. 68
It was like the
sacks.
third most sacks taken of all time.
Yeah, now granted, and again, the situation is bad. The routes being ran were bad. The offensive line was bad, but he also needs to work on his scrambling. It's not going to work the same like it did at USC. So I could see it, Kate. My number 9 is still my tier 4 of guys. My tier 4 is 7 through 10. And my number 9, I have Baker Mayfield. I think Baker's really good. Obviously, It's a little bit different now in that system of offense, but they did get Emeka Egbuka. I think that kind of evens out, losing the coordinator. 4,500 yards, 41 touchdowns last year, a league high 69 Ts, but that's also kind of what happens when you throw 570 attempts. Very confident quarterback. I like the way he plays, and yeah, he's my number 9.
Yeah, I had Baker a little bit higher than you. I feel like you really casually said 4,500 yards. I believe that was the second most out of any QB last season. So I'm a little bit higher on him than you. But for my number 9, I put Matthew Stafford. I don't have too much to say about him. I just think he's, you know, consistently a very solid QB. I think him and Puka Nacua are going to do a lot this year. And yeah, I don't have too much to say about him.
Baker Mayfield was third, so you're right there. He was third in yards passed last year, 4,500 behind just Jared Goff and Joe Burrow. So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Yeah, I also had Baker Mayfield at 9. I wanted to put him higher, but he did have 16 interceptions, which is kind of a lot. I mean, I know he did throw a lot, but he had a 61 QBR, which was 13th in football. Like, he did put up good counting stats, but I think that was more of a Liam Cohen kind of just running a great offensive scheme than, him. But I think Baker's really good. I have him at number 9.
Yeah. Okay, so Kate and I have the same ranking there. I kind of have a feeling we might have the same ranking here. Actually, I could see having this guy maybe 1 or 2 slots higher. My number 8, so again, this is still my tier 4 guys. I have Matthew Stafford at number 8, so 1 ranking ahead of Eli. 16 games last year. His numbers are definitely don't compare to Baker Mayfield's. 3,762 yards, 20 passing touchdowns, 8 INTs. He played in 16 games, though, and I believe he got hurt in 1 or 2 of those, so that could also be a factor. And he had a much less amount of completion attempts, or 517 pass attempts compared to Baker's 570. I just think I trust Matthew Stafford more in a big game than Baker Mayfield, and that's what it came down to. I think next year, though, Baker's probably ahead of Stafford, unless, the lists change.
So I wanted to put this guy higher, but at number 8, I put Justin Herbert. I'm actually very high on the Chargers in general this season, and that includes, Justin Herbert for me, and therefore I wanted him higher. I don't know. It's another one of those situations where I just think I like the guys above him a little bit more. So I put him at the 8.
Yeah, I don't hate it. That playoff game left a sour taste in my mouth personally, with the 4 interceptions. So I don't dislike it. My number 8's also Matthew Stafford, similar to Coy's. I think the back injury scares me a little bit. I think his touchdown upside is probably higher with Devontae Adams, but if he doesn't play 17 games, like that's clearly an issue. Like I don't think the Rams would be nearly as good. They might not even win the division if Stafford doesn't play a minimum of 14 games. Like the back injury scares me a lot. So I don't want to put him much higher, but I still think Matthew Stafford can sling it unlike any other quarterback in football, and the Rams still scare me if he plays.
Okay, so Cade and I with some similar lists so far, and kind of the same with Eli, just maybe 1 or 2 rankings differently. And this is where things I think officially get interesting. This is still my tier 4 guys. This is number 7. I have Jaden Daniels at number 7. I'm intrigued to see where you guys have him. I think some people would think that is bad, and I think what I would tell those people, I think that's just stupid to assume that. And this is going to be a second-year quarterback, and I already have him as a top 7 QB in the NFL. I think I'm a little concerned in terms of I think he's going to have figured out a little bit and with some downfield passing. We know the Cliff Kingsbury offense. He threw like more than 20% of his completions behind the line of scrimmage last year. That's like high school football numbers almost. And you have a guy like Deebo Samuel now around him too, who obviously lives for those bubble screens and handoffs as well. But I'm not taking anything away. He's top 7 QB in football. He threw for 3,568 yards last year, 25 touchdowns, and rushed for nearly 900 yards. So he's obviously doing something right, and he comes at number 7.
So 7's where I put Baker Mayfield, and obviously there's a lot of he throws a lot of interceptions, especially last season, but I still think he's just a really talented guy. I like his options this year. Looks like Godwin's going to be back week 1 healthy. So I'm pretty high on him this season, so that's where I put Baker.
I put Justin Herbert at number 7. I think maybe at least Coy thought I have him higher. I think that playoff game was pretty bad.
You have
I
Daniels
know
over
that.
Herbert? Come on.
Yeah, I do have Daniels. Daniels is a better
I
quarterback.
also have Daniels over Herbert.
I agree with your points about Jane Daniels. We'll get to him in a little bit, but I think Jaden Daniels is a better quarterback right now than Justin Herbert. I mean, he just had a better playoff run than Herbert's had in his whole career. He doesn't have a playoff win yet. I think that'll change this season. I think the Chargers finally get their first playoff win. I think, even with the Slater injury, I think they still might be pretty good. But I don't know. Justin Herbert's great, and he's been great, and he put up great stats before. I mean, I think he had 5,000 passing yards and like 40 touch, something crazy like that his first or second season. So he's capable of doing it. I just think it'll be a run heavy offense. We know Greg Roman likes to run the ball. Keenan Allen's fine. He's comfortable with the offense, but he's still old. Lad McConkey's very good, so that helps his case. But I don't know. We know he's going to be great in the regular season, but he still has no playoff wins in 4 or 5 years. It's starting to be concerning.
Yeah, listen, I just maybe I'm an anti Jaden Daniels guy. I think the one thing that's more shocking to me here is, yeah, Cade a lot of times in our group chat does a lot of rage baiting, talking about Justin Herbert and Jalen Hurts and stuff like that. So this does confirm, unless Cade has Jalen Hurts off his list, that he has Hurts above him. But
Don't count
listen,
your chickens before they hatch, my friend.
I will say again, it's really not that crazy. We're getting to my tier 3 of guys, and at number 6, I do have Justin Herbert. So just one ranking higher than you. 3,870 yards last year, just 3 interceptions to 23 touchdowns. Some pretty good numbers in 17 games. Obviously, the playoff games is the big thing, and I agree with you. I think eventually that's got to get solved. I think it will eventually get solved, but I just think he clears Jaden Daniels. I shouldn't say clears. I just think he's a better quarterback than Jaden Daniels. And I
We
have him
bashed
number
so many
6.
guys though for not performing in the playoffs, and Herbert hasn't. He was up like 27-3 against the Jaguars, and they
No, it
lost.
was actually even worse than that, I think. I think they
Yeah,
were
it
shut
was
out.
like
Yeah,
that's
but
bad, man. Imagine if that was Jalen Hurts, what would be being said? Like it's
yeah.
crazy. I think Justin Herbert. I mean, obviously, I think he's great. I have him at my number 7. I just at some point you got to start docking some points for playoff performance.
Yeah, I know the rookie just went around and messed around and somehow made it to the NFC Championship game. I just can't do it yet. I just am not on as high in Jane Daniels as other people are. I think I'm expecting I think I'm expecting some regression this year, a sophomore slump, kind of similar to C.J. Stroud's, if I'm being honest. And I think that's what does the ranking for me.
So I'm more with Kate on this argument. I have Jaden Daniels at number 6 above Herbert. I think like the playoff thing is obviously an issue for Herbert, but I think a QB who could run similar to Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson can be one of the most game changing things you could have on your team. And I mean, Jaden Daniels had almost 900 rushing yards last season. That's unbelievable. I don't see any reason he's going to have a sophomore slump. I'm not going to assume that just because Stroud had one for any particular reason. I don't see him slowing down.
Well, that's
I
not
think he's
my reason.
unbelievable.
That's not my reason. I have my concerns with downfield passing. That's my personal reason, but I can see it. I'm not hating on the guy. He's still a top 7 QB in my eyes, but
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something. If anything, he's going to get better with than worse. So I'm very high on him. I'm definitely higher than him on Herbert, going into this season. So I put him at number 6.
I also have Jaden Daniels at number 6. I just think, I mean, what we just saw, and I know like there's hints of Stroud, but I think, Jaden Daniels was even better than CJ Stroud. He may have had the greatest rookie season of all time from a quarterback. And he wasn't even that great at the beginning of the season. It kind of took him some time, and he still put up those numbers. The one concern though that I do share with you, Coy, is Cliff Kingsbury does get figured out. His offenses look great early, as we saw in Arizona, and then they kind of get figured out, and he can't adjust in the later years. So maybe there's some concern with his offense itself, but I don't think it's a Jaden Daniels issue at all. I think he's still a top 6 quarterback.
listen, it's not that again. I have him one ranking below you guys, so clearly I don't think he's bad. I just had Justin Herbert over him, but I can see the vision otherwise. So, all right, well, we're getting to the top 5 now, actually. So this is still my tier 3 of guys, and this is where you're going to see Jalen Hurts round out at number 5. So there's really not more of a more clutch QB you could ask for, if I'm being honest. Nobody elevates their game like Jalen Hurts does when it comes to the playoff times or in the clutch moments. Obviously, there was some rocky moments in the beginning of last year, and it kind of picked up after that Steelers win, after the whole media was bashing, saying that they want to see him pass, and they went and passed it more. So 2,903 yards last year, 18 touchdowns. Obviously, those numbers are a lot lower than some of the other guys on these lists, but Jalen Hurts also had 2 to 3 seasons before that to back up his success with some better numbers. So I'll take 900 less passing yards and 4 less touchdowns, and I'll take the Super Bowl MVP. And it's just not Philly biasness. I trust Jalen Hurts with the football more than anything. So that's my number 5.
Now, I'm actually really surprised you ranked him there. I think after last season, undoubtedly the number 5 should be Patrick Mahomes. 11 interceptions, only a 93 and a
What?
half QB rating. Yeah, I have Patrick
Have you
Mahomes at number
lost your
5.
damn mind?
No, I have Patrick Mahomes at number 5. I would rather going into this season have the 4 guys I have above him, which I think are pretty clear at this point, than Patrick Mahomes. I don't think Patrick Mahomes had a good season last year. I think he is. I think he is the
The
best.
man went to the Super
He's
Bowl.
he's the baby goat. He's the baby goat, and I know that. But going into this season, after last season, I don't think it's ridiculous to have the 4 guys I have above him. I really don't. I have
Well, that
Patrick
makes
Mahomes
me
at
feel
number
better.
5.
Damn, man. Oh, no.
That makes me
Cue
feel
the
better
Stephen A.
because I thought
clip.
I was just about to have the worst take of the podcast coming up soon. My number 4 is, or not, my number 5 is Joe Burrow. That
Wow.
might shock
What?
you guys, but I have Joe Burrow at my
Wow.
number 5. They missed the playoffs last season. I know he had a great counting season, but I think we need to hold that against them a little bit. The Bengals, I know their defense was bad and their O-line's bad, but you have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and I just think you
Dude,
got to figure out a way. He also doesn't have a single fourth quarter touchdown in his postseason career. I know he
you
beat Mahomes.
cannot.
I don't know. I think missing the playoffs is a big deal, dude. Joe Burrow,
Dude, that is not Burrow's fault
Dude,
at
that was.
all. That's horrible.
I don't think Joe Burrow is a top 4 quarterback. I'm sorry, not going into the season. I can't do it.
I
I
think
like
that's
it.
ridiculous.
I like it because I know you had Jalen ahead of him, but dude, that defense was absolutely atrocious. He led the league
I
in yards, touchdowns, yards per game, everything you could potentially think of. That's the only. We saw the Bengals defense get diced by our preseason offense. I mean, granted, it was week 1 of the preseason, but still, those were their starters, dude. I don't know.
Jalen
I don't
Hurts had
think
Jalen Hurts had a similarly bad defense, and he made the playoffs.
I don't know,
you're
man.
true. You're
I
right.
think I think Joe Burrow with a line like the Eagles line is like putting up the best numbers in football. I think he's a
Maybe,
very
but he
talented
still
QB, but
doesn't.
with a
He still doesn't
horrible
have a fourth quarter touchdown in the playoffs. Like
maybe, but his
that's
team
kind of
sucks.
unbelievable. That's kind of unbelievable from a guy that we consider to be an undoubted top 4 quarterback in football to not have a fourth quarter touchdown in your playoff career, and you're a top 4 quarterback. Yeah, get out of here,
Dude, his team is
I would be
shit.
intrigued to see. I
dude.
obviously
He
have
went
the
to
league
the
on
Super
tap.
Bowl, which dude he won 3 or 4 playoff games in one postseason, and he didn't have a single fourth quarter passing touchdown. Like it, I don't know.
Yeah, but
You
I'd be
guys might
intrigued
call
to
me
see.
crazy.
I'd be intrigued to see like how they got downfield and who like if they just ran the ball. I know that stat is true, and I'd still think that eventually he would have one. But I would be
He
like
was
interested
not
to see
good.
the
He was
rushing
not good
touchdowns.
in the second half of that Super Bowl, and the guy I have above him was. It's that simple.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fair enough. I will give him some credit. That year that they went to the Super Bowl was actually one of the worst offensive lines like of all time. If you guys remember that divisional round against the Titans, he was sacked 9 times in that win against the Titans. A little Ferris Bueller there. Okay, yeah. Listen, I don't think it's that crazy. I just think that I think I view their defense a little bit differently. Obviously, I know that the
We
playoff
had a
touchdowns
man
that you're
5
talking about.
minutes ago just say Mahomes was at number 5.
Hey, but
Not
I
crazy
mean,
at all. Dude,
I
last
queued the
season
Stephen
was
A. clip.
not good.
I queued the Stephen A.
Last
clip for
season
that.
was bad.
But listen, it's really not crazy. I have Joe Burrow, 1 ranking ahead of you at number 4. This rounds out my tier 3 of quarterbacks. So Burrow, Hurts, and Herbert, I have them all in the same tier. I kind of already mentioned the numbers. Led the league in yards, 4,918, 43 passing touchdowns, only 9 interceptions with 460 completions, which also led the league. So I think there's just pretty ridiculous numbers for Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair spot for him. I think he's definitely top 4 in my eyes. 4 is where I put Jalen Hurts. Look, I do think Mahomes is clearly better than Jalen Hurts, but after last season, I think I just have to put Jalen Hurts. And going into this season, the Eagles are the far better team. He's in a far better situation, and I think he's going to do far better than Patrick Mahomes will, just because of that. So I put Jalen Hurts number 4.
All right,
So I have Jalen Hurts once. Go ahead, Coy. Go ahead.
Sorry, real fast. So this is a good thing for the listeners. At this point, you can notice that all of our lists are kind of graded differently, like criteria-wise of how we ranked. So with that doesn't make the rankings that crazy, and maybe it's kind of more interesting to have three different point of views. You go. Sorry, Gabe.
No, that's all right. I agree with you. I think I have Jalen Hurts one spot above Joe Burrow. Eli has him one spot above Patrick Mahomes. You tell me who's crazier. I have Jalen Hurts at number 4. He's a Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP, 2-time Super Bowl attendee. I just think, listen, and people that know me and maybe listened last year know that I was very critical and still am very critical of Jalen Hurts. But at what point do we just sit back and be like, well, yes, he has a great team, but he performs when it matters most better than maybe anybody besides Patrick Mahomes, and that matters for a lot, dude. Like, I know people love their counting stats and they want the 40 touchdowns and the 5,000 yards and the 9 interceptions. Like, give me a guy who can just win. He doesn't turn the ball over. He extends drives with his legs. He can throw the deep ball better than maybe anybody in the league. Like, I think Jalen Hurts is a winner, and it's time we stop disrespecting him, and that's including myself.
So
Okay, I
are
will
you
say.
guys? Go ahead,
Go
Coy.
ahead.
No,
I'll
you
go.
go.
I'll go. I will say like a year and a half ago, I can't hate on Cade because a year and a half ago, Cade, if you remember, we were at Chickies and Pete's, and I said the same thing about Hurts over Burrow, and you and our friend Enzo critiqued me pretty hard on that. Um, I can't hate. It makes
Well, that
sense.
was in the middle of Burrow's Super Bowl run and before Jalen had his 2 runs.
I saw the
Now,
future. I could see it.
now, let me ask you guys this: after Mahomes' last season, do you not think the guys I have above him are going to go into this season just from based off last season and situationally
Nobody
going
that
into
you
this
have in
season?
front of him can beat him.
Okay, maybe not, but they're all. I don't know, man.
And the guy
Mahomes
that I had at
sucked
number
last
4
year, dude.
did beat
His
him,
most
and he outplayed him
unbelievable play,
twice.
his most unbelievable play last season was him hurting his best receiver. That was his best, most unbelievable viewed play last season. He did terrible.
We're
11
making the Super
interceptions,
Bowl.
a 93.5 QB rank. I don't know. He didn't look good, man. I don't think the Chiefs are going to be good this year either.
All I'm saying is that if the game was on the line, there's nobody in football that you're taking over number 15. It's that simple.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, you're right. I agree. But
So then
I
he
just don't
can't be
think the
number
Chiefs.
5.
Okay, but you can't just factor the QB. Like, you got to look at other factors. Like Joe Burrow's throwing to
Right.
Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Patrick Mahomes has his fucking QB suspended for 6 games because he got in a car crash. Travis Kelce's getting old. I just don't think it's going to be good for him.
Yeah, but you put, Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow and Josh Allen with Andy Reid, and I think that helps him a lot too. I
Maybe.
don't think it really. I don't think I don't factor in the receiving core. I just think with the game on the line, there's nobody you'd rather have than Mahomes, and that's why he's not my number 5.
Right. But his team, I don't know. I just don't think they're going to be that good. Why did Rashid get suspended? I forget.
It was a hit and run.
Hit and run. That's right.
All right. So, okay, listen, none of that stuff's crazy. Yeah, I'm looking at Patrick Mahomes' football reference page right now, and we're a couple of seasons out from his 5,250 yard season, 41 touchdowns, which both led the league, and not even leading the league in completions or passes attempt. So I kind of think we're going to get back to that. I'm kind of banking on somewhat of a bounce back. And also, they went 10-6 the year they beat the Niners in the Super Bowl in 2023, which I thought was kind of crazy. But regardless, let's get into our top 3. I still have 2 tiers to go. Obviously, the top 3 is consensus, considering it's the 3 names you haven't heard yet. Kind of depends on the order. Number 3, I do have Lamar Jackson at number 3.
Oh, my God.
I want to hear your argument in a second. Lamar Jackson arguably could have won the MVP again this year. 41 touchdowns, just 4 interceptions, which is pretty insane. 4,172 yards, first time he's eclipsed over 4,000 yards in his career. Really good, just kind of hasn't gotten it done in the playoffs. He got the job done a little bit. I shouldn't even say that. In that Bills game in the divisional round, he was a little lackluster, but he got a clutch drive down the field, and Mark Andrews obviously dropped the pass. So probably the best dual threat QB we've ever seen. So I don't know. 915 rushing yards last year. He just needs to show out in big games. It's been a common trend in this list that we've had to talk about.
So I think his last season was unbelievable. So, but anyways, I have Joe Burrow at number 3. Nearly 5,000 yards last season, 43 TDs, 9 interceptions, and 108.5 QB rating. He's throwing to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, of course. So, that obviously helps out. But, He's doing that again. He's going to be doing that in the future, and I think he's just going to absolutely stat pad throwing to those guys.
It just hold on. It just clicked in my head here because I forgot Eli had Mahomes at 5. So with that reaction, I think I know who your number 1 is. Let's not forget Josh Allen won the MVP as well, and he can perform in the big games.
Lamar should have had that MVP. It wasn't even. It's not, I
Lamar
didn't even.
can't
I
win a
thought it was
playoff
no.
game.
Maybe not, that was Mark Andrews' fault though. That game.
All right.
That game was completely on Mark Andrews.
All right. Well, I have Lamar Jackson at my number 3 as well.
God!
I don't know, man. I mean, think Josh Allen just. I know he still can't beat Mahomes in the playoffs, but his games are just so much better when you watch him in the postseason than Lamar Jackson. I mean, the Bills, when they lose to the Chiefs, they still put up like 30-plus points every time. It's just their defense that fails them. When Lamar loses to the Chiefs, they score like 17, 19. Like, they can't. I don't know. I just think Josh Allen's a better quarterback, and there's really nothing that I can say that can change your mind, Eli, because I know where you're at with him, but I don't know. I think there's a pretty easy way to view these top 3 guys.
I was about to mention that the playoffs situation. So, arguably Lamar has had the best chance between the two. Mahomes, you look at Mahomes against Josh Allen, you think that massive shootout, Gabriel Davis 4-touchdown game goes in overtime. The defense failed him. You think about last year in the AFC Championship game, defense kind of failed him again. I think he put up 29 or so points, and Dalton Cade dropped that pass, and we kind of thought that he was finally going to win. He couldn't. Lamar had the chance in the AFC Championship just 2 years ago. I believe it was a 17-14 barn burner or something. I'll fact check in a minute. The one thing that is interesting that can go to Eli's point here, in that game in the playoffs in the divisional round this past year, Lamar was 254 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Josh Allen only had 127 yards and no touchdowns, no interceptions though either. But he had 2 rushing touchdowns, but it was 10 carries for 20 yards. So I'm not going to take away the rushing touchdowns because we don't do it for Jalen Hurts either on this podcast. But yeah, I mean, I just think Josh Allen has put up more of a fight to potentially get to the Super Bowl, and his defense kind of failed him 2 times.
With a worse team in pretty much every aspect as well. The Bills are worse than the Ravens.
Lamar definitely had the best shot 2 years ago in that AFC Championship game, without a doubt.
I think Josh Allen is going to be is the better overall QB. I really do. I think in the future, especially, he's going to end up beating out Lamar Jackson. Lower? But after But after we're talking about the 2025 season, after last season, Lamar was just better in every single way. I don't want to hear anything about that playoff game because he should have won that game. He had more yards, he had more touchdowns, he had less interceptions, he had a higher QB rating, and he had more rushing yards. He just did better in every single way. Maybe he had a better team, but he was the better QB last season. He was. And going into this season, that means I'm going to rank Lamar Jackson higher than Josh Allen. I don't even think it was that close. I think he should have won the MVP clearly.
I want to talk about this real fast. This AFC Championship game was interesting, man. 2 years ago, Chiefs-Ravens in Baltimore. This was the year that the Chiefs beat the Niners in the Super Bowl to get their second in a row. It was 17-10. Now, granted, Lamar Jackson didn't have his best numbers, 42.4 QBR, 75.5 QBR, or just passer rating. This is also the game where Zay Flowers fumbled, like at the half-inch line. If he doesn't drop that, things may go differently. Mahomes also didn't really do anything insane that game. He had a really high completion percentage, but like nothing really crazy for that game. But that's so far been like the best chance of a team to get past Mahomes to the Super Bowl. The Ravens, they scored a touchdown that first quarter, went scoreless, quarters 2 for 3, and then finally hit a field goal in the fourth. But that's an interesting game. It's a shame the Ravens couldn't get the job done there. So if we're off that topic for now, we're getting to the top 2. I'll get into my 2. It's Josh Allen, the reigning MVP. I pretty much have already voiced why I have him over Lamar Jackson. 3,731 yards, 28 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. So you could argue that the counting numbers are in favor of Lamar Jackson. So that's where Eli's argument is kind of, not too bad. The interceptions have been a problem in years past for Josh Allen, and he proved that that's no longer a thing. Hopefully it'll continue like that. He lowered his interceptions from 18 to 6 in the past 2 years, which is pretty crazy. Granted, his passing yards went down by like 600. His attempts went down by like 78 or so. So I like Josh Allen. I'd mentioned that he's been able to come close to getting the job done. Still hasn't, though. So there's a common denominator, and that's why my number 1 is going to be Mahomes. But I'll hear you guys' number 2.
So number 2, I also have Haley Steinfeld's boyfriend. I mean, I got to be honest. Look, I do think in the few years coming up, he's going to be the better. He's going to beat out Lamar Jackson. But after last season, I cannot put him above Lamar. I can't. I just think Lamar beat him in every way. He was just better. And maybe that's situational, maybe it's not, but I cannot do it this season, going into this particular season. So he's at my 2.
Yeah, I also have Josh Allen at number 2, like Coy does. Eli, you had him at number 2 as well, right? Sorry, I was researching a stat real fast.
Yeah, but you guys have a
Yeah,
different one. So
yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, Josh Allen's playoff QBR is almost identical to Patrick Mahomes. That's kind of unbelievable. He's at 101. Mahomes is at 104. Lamar Jackson's career playoff rating is 84, so not even really close to those two guys. And I think that matters. Again, it's like the argument with Jalen Hurts. I mean, yeah, you can look great in the regular season, but when it matters most, I just think that really is where legends are made. It's when it counts in the playoffs. And Lamar Jackson has just been flat out disappointing in the postseason. And I just think Josh Allen is clearly the number 2 quarterback. I mean, he's perfected football. He really has everything. He's perfected his passing. His like Coy said, his interception numbers are down. He's perfected the sport.
he should have lost that game to Lamar Jackson.
This is interesting. We've only seen these two meet twice in the playoffs. So it's kind of surprising because they go back to 2020 when their first matchup was. Those two were kind of in the beginning. It was 17-3. The Bills won. It was just a really bad game, honestly, for both. So Josh Allen, his playoff career is 7-6. Lamar is 3-5. Not off the charts on either side. Obviously, Allen's over 500. But listen, I see an argument for either or. For Cade and I, there's a common denominator at number 1. It's Patrick Mahomes. And if I'm going down my list right now, which is on paper, he's beaten the number 2. He's beaten the number 3. He's beaten the number 4, all in 3 different AFC Championship games in Allen, Lamar, and Burrow. Jalen Hurts number 5. He has him once. Obviously, Mahomes has had him, and then there's Justin Herbert, who he's beat. Daniels hasn't had to encounter him. Stafford, Baker, Goff, whatever. But it's kind of interesting to go down the list for number 1 and see how many guys he's beaten.
Nobody wins like Mahomes. Mahomes is the baby goat. But Lamar Jackson was the best quarterback in football last season. Lamar Jackson's going to be my number 1 going in this year.
Yeah, I think my argument is very similar to Coy's. I mean, my number 1 beat my number 2, beat my number 3, beat my number 4, beat my number 5, beat my number 7, beat my number 9. So, I mean, when you look at it that way, if those are unbelievable quarterbacks on very good teams, on winning teams, and they can't beat this guy. The only person that did was Jalen Hurts, and that's why he's my number 4.
Joe
But
Burrow
I
has him
just,
once.
yeah, Joe Burrow does have him once, and then he crapped down his leg in the Super
Yeah,
Bowl. But
they called
that's a
it
different.
Burrow. No, I wouldn't. Let's not go that far. But I loved how they called Burrowhead after that game, and then obviously the Chiefs went on and continued doing their thing.
Then the Chiefs
Oh my
were on the verge
God,
of three-peating.
Joseph Osai. Oh my God,
Yeah,
dude.
when he pushed him out of bounds.
Bro, the Eagles would have played the Bengals that Super Bowl if that maybe doesn't happen. That's insane to think about. Harrison Butker kicks the game-winning field goal. Wow, I forgot about that. A lot of things could have. Dude, Jalen Hurts may have been a 2-time Super Bowl champion, bro. I mean, even though we should
Yeah.
have won that game regardless of 2022, that's crazy to think about. I forgot about that game.
I mean, I just think that when it comes to Mahomes, it's like the Brady thing. Like Brady wasn't always the best quarterback in the regular season. I mean, sometimes Manning had him beat, Rodgers had him beat, often Breeze sometimes. But when it came down to the playoffs, there's not a single quarterback that you want over Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes, and that's why I think Mahomes is easily number 1. I don't really think it's close.
I
Yeah,
think it's a good argument. That's a good
yeah.
argument.
And listen, in fairness to Eli, our lists are all factoring kind of different things. So I could see why he is Lamar number 1. But it's good to have 3 different kind of point of views on this episode. But that's going to do it. I will say the one thing that's interesting, going back and looking at all of our old lists, a lot of things change. A lot of things are wrong. So not everything's going to pan out the way we thought. But that's football. So we'll come back in a year from now and we'll see how wrong our lists were, and hopefully Jalen Hurts 2-time Super Bowl MVP at that point. But guys, that's about it. If you guys have any other points, want to throw them in, do it now.
Nothing. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, no, I think that was pretty fun.
Awesome. All right, well, keep on the lookout. I know I will be having an NFL preseason podcast out coming soon. Eagles preseason, then Eagles versus Cowboys pregame ep. So loads of football coming out for you guys. And again, just 1 week away till kickoff. So I'll see you guys soon.
See you guys.